decided the microphone from the green light to the speed trap. Ray Garino and Joe D calls them as they seize them, and you better believe them. Here, relevant news, biased opinion, and outright nonsense regarding every aspect of automotive culture. Gas with mechanical trickery never before broadcast over FCC-regulated airwaves. Thrilled to the explosive tension as Ray and Joe cuss each other down track, barrel roll across the finish line, laughing at certain disasters as they shake hands with the devil. All that and so much more at high noon this Sunday on the Motormouth Radio Hour. Call in and speak live with the Wizards of Speed and the Live Eat, Ray Garino and Joe D. Bring the whole family. Kids under 12 get in free. Every Sunday at noon on WHPC. Take the Hempstead Turnpike to the Meadowbrook Parkway and look for the no parking on the expressway and no express service on the Parkway sign. Go right on Highway 24 to Garden City. $2 all-day parking includes pit pass.
All right, it was 5, but now we're live. Ho, 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 all you Santa jumpers on Motor. You're listening to Motormouth Radio with your hosts, Ray Guarino, and not Chris Switzer today. Chris has a family thing to attend to, so we have our venerable stand-in, the other Motormouth in our crowd, Pirate Paul. Paul, yep. Thanks for coming in today.
You're welcome. I just couldn't find anybody else, huh?
No, well, actually... You're right. I couldn't, but then again, I didn't ask anybody else. I said, let me go to the A list and let's go right to the top.
Oh, yeah. Man, I'm sliding off my seat.
So, well, you know, I'll tell you something. When you're looking for, this will be our last show of the year, of course, you know, before we start what has to be a better year. And
I hope.
You know, I said to myself, okay, when Chris could do it, I said, okay, what do you do when you look for a co-host last minute? You need somebody who can talk as much as you can and can carry a conversation. And there were a couple names that came in, but then the light went off. I'm like, oh, I gotta call Paul.
Oh, I'm glad you did.
Good.
Took me away from the garage for a little while.
That's good. So unfortunately, people, if I give all of this stuff we don't have our regular phone line today, so the calls are going to be a problem. But we should have Dina Parise calling us from Parise Racing to talk about a video that went up on our social media feeds recently. And of course, you know, you should be following them anyway, which on Twitter and the web and Facebook is Motormouth Radio. On Instagram, which is Joe's favorite, it's real _Motormouth Radio. Where we put pictures up of the things we get involved with and sometimes our Italian cooking. You know, we have a video that a little piece that may go on there about our Christmas lasagna. So you can find all that stuff on there. And you'll find the video that Dina will be referring to if you check the social media outlets out. We put it up earlier in the week. So Paul, you were playing in the garage today, I saw.
Yes, I was. Get a chance to break out some of the tools. But I'm doing house stuff, not car stuff.
Yeah, but you know what? That's the thing. A lot of people don't realize that what we do transcends like all of the things that we do in our lives. Like when you work on something in the house, you go out and get your automotive tools, and you use the knowledge you learn from working on cars to fix a sink or to fix
right
an electrical device. You know.
But I also think we tend to be a little spoiled. I mean, I know I am as far as my assortment of tools.
Oh yeah.
Because as I told you before we got on the air, I'm making headboard brackets for our, for Pirate Paul's bed. And how many people can go out to the garage and, yank out a piece of 3/16 steel in the plasma cutter and make cut out some nice little brackets.
Right. I'll tell you the truth. I couldn't even do that because I don't have a plasma cutter. I'd be coming to your house.
Yeah. Well, it's a great tool. If you ever get a chance to pick one up, grab it. Yeah.
It's on the list. I was talking to my younger daughter earlier in the week. We were talking about powder coating. Oh, I know. I explained to her I had the rims powder coated for my the truck. And I said to her, we do have, and it's being a design student, she's over in a design college here in this city. She appreciates that stuff. And she asked me, how does it work? So I told her the whole process of how it works. And she goes, wow, it sounds, it's intense. I'm like, yeah, it is. I said, but you could do it at home. And I explained to her, I said, my buddy Paul has a setup in his garage. I explained to her how you figured out the stove or the heat source and what that. So she goes, oh, okay, that's good. She goes, so there's always a workaround. I'm like, well, if you're smart enough, there is. But I told her, I said, you don't even realize this. Before you were born, I redid the bathroom. if you go in the bathroom and look at our fixtures,
I remember this.
The handles are like big nuts, and the escutcheons they're all colored to match the sink and the toilet and the tub. I said, they were brass. I said, but as soon as I bought that stuff, I sent them out and had them powder coated immediately.
Didn't you send those to like California or something?
I tell you something. It was in the 90s, so it was in the. Powder coating then wasn't as available as it was today.
Right.
Especially for consumer use. Through the motorcycle shop, I had sent stuff out. There was a guy out in Farmingdale is still there. Rainbow, I think. Rainbow Powder Coat was out there. But this time I went right through the plumbing supply store because those guys had a source. And I said, okay, instead of me taking them, sending them out, and then putting another middleman in, let me just stick with them. And I don't even remember what they charged me. It was probably I knew the guy, so he probably gave me a fairly good deal, marked it up a bit, so he made something on it. But I said, so you didn't even realize, like all these years, you were working with powder-coated stuff in the bathroom? And I said, no one else ever knew it either. I said, I really did it because I wanted it, Yeah,
I remember that. Well, but you know what I equate powder coating to, and a lot of people don't realize it?
What's that?
Photocopies.
Okay. Oh,
Think about the process of how a photocopier works. Right. It's exactly the same thing.
Toner, right.
Toner is nothing more than powdered plastic.
That's right.
Right. It uses electrostatic, attraction to make the powder stick to the paper, and then it puts it through the diffuser assembly, which is nothing more than a heater.
Right.
So it's really powder coating.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly right. Absolutely.
And that's how I equate when people ask me like how it works. So I'll explain same thing. I'll explain the process, and I'll say you probably use it every day and don't even realize it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and most people, they don't know. They don't understand the process. But so now she knows a little bit more about it, and I explained to her that's how you could you get stuff done, and now you could do it at home, and she was impressed. So we covered powder coating and all that great stuff. So
I actually went to a trade show with Steve C. from our old job.
Right,
way back. Steve and Jerry went to a trade show at the Javits Center. This has got to be back in the 80s, and there was some guys there introducing powder coating. And I thought it was a neat thing. I guess I just didn't see the applications down the road.
Oh yeah.
To get into, because these guys, what they were doing was they had all different selections of powder, and they would take, like, you give them a key, one of your keys, and they would powder coat. They were powder coating the back end of your key. They had a toaster oven there, and they would put it in and show you, and people getting their keys powder coated. It was a novelty thing, and now it's everything. Every single thing you see nowadays, patio furniture, everything's powder coated.
We happened to be passing by a diner at the time, and I said, look, I see the stainless steel railings outside that diner. They could be powder coated, like clear powder coated. I said shops were doing that to kind of, to lock in the integrity of the base metal. I said that was, that I remember in the beginning they didn't have a really good crystal clear. The clear was a little yellowy, I remember. And then of course they changed that, and now they have, you name it.
Oh, it's come a long way. I mean, on the dune buggy, I used wrinkle finish powder coat.
Nice.
All the shrouds, all the air shrouds on the buggy are all wrinkle finish powder coat. So is the steering column. That's
cool. My black wrinkle obsession, which is detailed on motormouthradio.com, is all done with, I use like PJ1, black wrinkle paint. And I found a trick. Actually, I learned it from the guys at Rolling Thunder Cycles. They said, you don't spray the metal when it's at room temperature or cold. They said, heat it up on, like, they had a kerosene heater at the time, I think. Just heat it up. So I use hot plates.
Right.
Put a piece of aluminum sheet over it, and I did my valve covers. Just get them warm. I don't even know. I did temperature check it. Maybe 100 degrees. I don't know, 85 degrees, 90 degrees, something like that. Just warmer than ambient. Yeah. And then when you spray that the black wrinkle on, it blushes a lot faster and wrinkles better.
Oh, really?
Like, okay, just a little trick, It's
I got to try. I'll tell you the thing with the powder coat's very touchy about how thick you lay it.
Okay.
If you do a very, very thin coating of powder coat, you barely get a wrinkle.
Yeah.
And too much, and it looks horrible. It's a very fine line. You got to get it just right.
Right. There's my.
I see. I learned that after stripping it, but you have to strip it a couple of times and redo it. Actually, that stuff right now, my powder coat is set up some mothballs right now until I get things a little bit more organized.
Oh, right, that's right. That's right, because now you're working on a new garage setup.
Right, I'm still fine tuning my my layout.
Right.
Stuff like that. I'm figuring out where I'm going to put some of the machines. That's why I put everything on wheels. Everything's on wheels so I can move it around. You saw the picture of the plasma cutter. Same thing, on wheels. Right. Sure. But it's great. It's great. I can roll it around to wherever I need it. Stuff like that. Same with the welders, everything.
Right.
Love it. I love it. But the thing that I'm working on, actually, one thing I wanted to talk about is, with this weather, heating the garage.
Oh, yeah.
That's the main thing. Right now, I'm on temporary heat. I'm using one of those propane torpedo heaters.
Okay.
Which isn't bad. But my problem is, as soon as everything warms up, everything gets wet. You get everything gets dewy. So, but what I did do, and I have a very high ceiling in the garage.
Yes.
Okay. So what I ended up doing, I don't know if I showed you a picture of those. I ended up putting fans up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did, the fancy name is destratification fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a $10 word a day.
That's a big one.
Yeah. But I couldn't use standard ceiling fans. I'm actually using a setup that I was actually building 40 plus years ago.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. Yeah, talk about that a bit. Yeah.
Well, back in high school, I worked in a machine shop, and the guy who I worked for was very smart, very ahead of his time. And over the summer, and he had a big shop, and over the summer, he had us cutting bottoms out of metal 5-gallon cans and mounting fan motors. He picked up a whole bunch of fan motors, I guess, at the scrapyard, because the morning run was to the scrapyard every Saturday morning. And then Monday we were fixing whatever he picked up.
Right.
So my brother and I were sitting there, and we were cutting bottoms off of cans and mounting fan motors in there. And I was like, "What the heck are these for?" And he was hanging them all over the shop.
Right.
And they made quite a difference. Come the wintertime, these things, pulling the heat down. Now I made 2. I ended up going on Craigslist, and I found some guy selling 2 fan motors. And believe it or not, they were from like a walk-in freezer.
Oh, cool.
And they were perfect size and a perfect speed, because you don't want anything that spins too fast, because it puts a draft on the ground. And I took 2 plastic 5-gallon buckets, I cut the bottoms and I cleaned them all up, and I mounted the fans on them, and I put hooks up on the ceiling. When I wired the garage, I put switched outlets up there just for the fans, knowing I was going to do that. And I'll tell you, it makes a difference.
Well, I'll tell you what else makes a difference. We do have a guest with us today. We have Dina Parise on the line with us today. Dina, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Excellent. Excellent.
It was very hard to put all the information in, and I was not doing it in time, and she kept hanging up on me.
Yeah, I apologize for that. We had a last-minute snafu with the phone. So, we've been doing everything remotely since last March, and this week we had a little bit of a snafu. There's 3 of us that actually handle a different facet of the show, and we talked about what will happen if one of us isn't here, and we never addressed it fully, but this week Chris couldn't make it, and he's the guy that handles the phone calls, so there was that. So anyway, but it's good to have you with us. And we want to talk about we want to talk about your rear end. Actually, it's
yeah, I know. I have to say, at my age, it's nice, that your rear end gets spoken about so highly.
Yeah. But of course, we did tease it, and I figured that was having Chassis John on at the time was the perfect time. I mean, literally, things just seem to drop in your lap sometimes. And John was talking about the cars he's building and the rear ends and all, and I just, being the little light bulb went off in my head, and I just had to drop that one out. So, so tell us about Stella. What's going on with the race car?
Well, I mean, we did have quite a bit of downtime, so Andrew was able to make some changes. Went to Fuel Tech. I know I posted a little bit about that. And, I mean, the car is basically ready to go, but now it's just a matter of making sure that we, get what we need to be out there. So, and it's a difficult time in general. So we'll just, it's just kind of a wait and see attitude.
What was the last race that you had, Dina?
It's been, I haven't been in the car probably for a year and a half.
Wow. Now, what are you going to do, or are you going to do anything to prep to get yourself back into race trim?
Well, definitely have to get some testing in, no doubt. I mean, that's kind of always been the way of the world for us, was to do a lot of testing before we actually go out for an event. Yeah. And plus we've made some changes too. So, we need to kind of get all that nailed down as well. Right. So.
Yeah. So you need some tests. You need definitely some test time on the track. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about personally, like a musician who doesn't play in a while has to get their chops back. Your fingers, so in a race car, you certainly are moving every arm. You're moving all your limbs. But the only thing that isn't moving is your rear end because it's strapped into that seat.
That is about the only thing that's not moving. That's correct. So,
do you have any thoughts about that? Are there any trepidations about, did I lose anything off my top end? Or
well, I mean, I think you can't be too cautious. You don't want to hold back too much, but then again, you want to make sure that you're making the right decisions in the car.
Yeah, you don't want to be too cavalier either and just think, oh, I got this.
Yeah. I mean, so it's been a while. And
for people who don't know.
My husband just texted me. He's like, your rear end moves regardless. Very nice.
Yeah, but his has the
I'm not really sure. Okay, he might not want me to cook for him tonight,
There you go.
A little arsenic in the food.
Dina, let me back up a little bit. For those who don't know, let the audience know what kind of car Stella is. Give us a quick rundown on the combination so people understand what it is that we're talking about that you drive.
So Stella is a Pro Mod. It's considered a 2013 Cadillac CTSV, because every girl from New York needs a 3,000 horsepower Cadillac.
Right.
It's got a 526 Hemi. It's blown, so it has a 1471 blower on the top. And that's our power plant of choice. If you know anything about Pro Mod, you know that there is a choice you can make when it comes to power plants. There's turbo, nitrous. So there's just, the class has kind of blown up.
Yeah.
There's Pro Charger as well.
Right. Yeah, and you use a hairdryer enough in your regular life. You don't need to have one on your car.
Another blower.
I know it's funny that you say that, because that's always been my shtick with that. Was I was a hairdresser for 30 years. I had enough blow dryer.
Right.
Yes. Right. And I like the sound of the blower too. I mean, just that throaty, kind of meaty, crazy sound. Yeah. To me, when it's quiet, it's kind of crazy. You're like, oh, if it's too quiet, you're like, wait, no.
Yeah.
I mean, they're fast as anything, turbos, but
the 1471's a big blower too.
Yeah,
it is, and
that must make a nice noise.
It does. There's some videos on. I have to post some stuff, and I heard you talking about powder coating, and like in our car, the chassis is powder coated. Mm-hmm. So, because we like to make sure everything looks nice and spiffy too, right. And we actually just had the valve covers hydro dipped by ATF Hydro Dip here in Georgia. This guy did an amazing job, and he put my Dina Parise Ventures logo in the hydro dip. It just looks amazing. I have to post the video and the pictures and stuff. I haven't gotten around to doing that yet.
Yeah, to that point, cool. We know you came up with a new logo recently, it caught my eye right away. I was like, wow, that's great. What was the reason for that? Just for some change or just something?
Well, it's funny because the Dina Parise Ventures is just for like the business side, and then we have the Spicy Meatball, which has been my nickname for a few years now.
Right.
Which, I mean, I just wanted to rebrand for a few reasons. One, because I'm not only about racing, so that's where the Dina Parise Ventures came in.
Yeah.
Because I do a lot of other things, speaking and spokesperson, that kind of stuff. So I didn't want it to be kind of just bogged down to just racing. Not that that's a bad thing. Right. And the Spicy Meatball, that came from the fans, which is super cool because I was watching racing online, and I like to be in the chat room. I like to keep up with everybody. I like to be kind of relevant with them, even if I'm not out on the track. And there was a troll in the room. So, and it was my real name, so I changed it to Spicy Meatball, just like off the top of my head as a goof, and it stuck.
Okay.
So there you have it.
Nice. Very good. No, I like it. I thought it was good. The graphic is great. It's, you certainly keep, you're keeping up with technology with all this stuff. It's a good, it's always a good kick in the butt for us to remember, keep current and keep moving forward. When does the season start? What race body are you under, and when does it start in 21?
So the season starts February, March in that area. And there's a few ways that we can go. There's, NHRA, which is quarter mile racing. And then ADRL and NMCA, which are both eighth mile. So kind of depending on where we want to be, we'll make the decision once we can.
So how is Stella set up now? Because the setup is different for eighth and quarter mile. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, right now she's really set up for quarter. So we would definitely have to make some changes, gear changes and that kind of thing.
Right.
How's the season looking, given all this COVID stuff right now? Well,
I mean, I haven't seen all of the schedules just yet. Some of them look partial. And I think it's really going to be kind of, they'll put their schedules up and then it's going to be a kind of wait and see attitude, if they're going to get all of the season in, depending on, what happens, with it. We have the changing of the guards in a couple of weeks, and then who knows what's going to happen really after that. So right. I think we all just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Have there been any rule changes for the new season?
Yeah. There have been some NHRA rule changes, which are they're costly, and they it's just different, not what we expected. One thing that did come out of it is NHRA is no longer allowing auto shift. Which I thought was kind of cool, because, and no disrespect to the auto shifting people out there, many people, that's their choice. I choose to shift. It's more fun, I think, for me. So that's going to make a change for a lot of people.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking you invest the money in your car and your parts, and now to have to change that, that's it's not like just changing your air freshener in your Camry,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny, years ago, and I'm going back 2010, I think, when we competed in Get Screened America, the Pro Mod series that Roger Burgess had brought when he brought Pro Mod back to NHRA. And then everybody was still more so running a clutch. We were probably the minority at the time running a converter. And the rule then was that you could run a converter, but you still you had to leave off of a clutch pedal.
Right.
You couldn't use a button because that was considered like a sportsman thing.
Yeah.
And I still have the clutch pedal in the car. I haven't changed it.
Okay.
So, I mean, I prefer it. It's just, like I said, I feel like it's a little bit more fun. You feel like you're doing more in the car. I feel like it's a little more control too, personally, but I think that's a personal preference.
Do you have any idea, Dina, what it might cost the team to change from an auto shift car back to a more traditional?
That's a good question. That would probably be more of an Andrew question, and I'll see if he texts me in a second.
Yeah, it's just something that we think, because, we mentioned the air freshener, so I'm thinking if we can put it in perspective and let people know that, just to give people who don't know, and I don't even know the answer to that, but, the real concrete example of how much money we're talking just to do something, that you like to do, that you may not win any money at, you may not, it may be a total loss, some gain, but...
Yeah, Andrew was saying, because he just texted me, it's not an expensive change. And although it's not an expensive change, it is a change for the driver, a big change for the driver. If you're not used to shifting,
Right.
That's a big change for sure. And especially for people who've never shifted to begin with.
Yeah.
So, but one of the rules they made this safety rule in NHRA, which is this big carbon fiber cover to go over the transmission inside of the car.
Okay.
Now, I have a blanket, so I don't understand why I need this carbon fiber piece that could shatter into a gazillion pieces if something does go wrong, because then, I have twice the shrapnel coming at me. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's how I'm trying to look at it in a realistic sense. I have the blanket on the transmission.
Yeah. And they work.
And yeah, I mean, it's same as what we have on the blower. DJ Safety does all of our safety equipment for us. And now I'm going to put this carbon fiber over it. And there has been many times where I've looked down and I have seen maybe a little leakage of something. With that cover over it, I can't see anything.
Yeah.
So it really is, I feel like it's a detriment to our safety.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was a good idea whatsoever.
And it costs you money to upgrade and add that, that component into the car.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're having to add something and it really is about your safety, like, let's just say like the panel that goes next to your leg by the door. So where you have your chassis and it's open, put a panel there. So if, God forbid, you get into a hairy crash, your door comes off, your leg is not going to get stuck or go through there.
Right.
That to me is like, that's worth its weight in gold. But something like this, where I feel like there was no forethought, it was a knee-jerk reaction to an incident that was on the track, was a knee-jerk reaction, and I'm pretty adamant about the fact that I am not in agreement with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's clear.
I think you got that.
Yeah. And I remember back in the days, the old days of racing, before blankets and even sometimes before scatter shields, clutches usually, because centrifugal force went up, they would saw their way through the floor and drivers' legs. Automatics tended to blow down for some reason. But no, the advent of the blanket and the scatter shields really saved a lot of limbs and a lot of life. So it's good anyway.
Yeah, between that and then, I have the bell housing in front of it. And, Brow makes an incredible bell housing for whatever your needs are. So, I mean, I feel like, I just feel like this was not a good choice, but that's me.
Right. Well, maybe there'll be an impromptu drivers meeting and there'll be a little bit of a revolt, and maybe a petition can be made. And, things are made to be changed both ways. So who knows?
Yeah, and we're all about safety. So I mean, that's definitely not that's not the issue for sure. But so I mean, we did during the COVID times, we did get to do a great show for Motor Trend. For the low car shows with Sam Adavi. And that was a lot of fun. That was on Motor Trend a couple of months ago. Mm-hmm. And I think I posted the interview. It was at the the Music Hall of Fame in Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Nice.
So it's the Alabama Music Hall of Fame. What a cool... If anybody ever goes to Alabama, I highly suggest it, because it does not look like anything from the outside. You go inside and that place is incredible. Cool. It's really cool.
Bama. Yeah. So what else do you have lined up for yourself? I know you're always busy with promotion and with social media and things like that. You have anything slated for the...
I know. I had some speaking engagements booked, but they, of course, everything got canceled.
Yeah.
So I had one that was supposed to even come up in the new year, and they're not doing that yet. So that's kind of been laid back. So I've just really been just trying to be active on social media, keep up with everyone. Super excited. Our marketing partners have stayed behind us through this whole entire ordeal, which is fantastic. CRC and Lucas Oil, DJ, Speedwire Systems. Speedwire Systems is they had assisted us with the wrap on the car, which was pretty cool. And they're actually a Canadian company, so and a company that I always highly recommend for any of your electronics in the car.
Sure. So, Dina, we know that you only had a limited time to talk with us, and you got to run because you got something you have to do. So we won't keep you. Please tell everybody now how they can find you through social media and keep up with what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that. They can head right to the website, which is DinaPariseVentures.com. If you put just my name in, or even if you put Dina Parise Racing, you'll find it. But DinaPariseVentures.com. And most of my social media is at D Parise Racing. So, or my full name, either way. So, yeah, hop on social media. There's always good times, like making fun of Andrew. That's become a pastime. And the fans seem to love it. So
That's true.
We're just, like I said, we're just keeping rocking and rolling. Andrew's been working really hard on the car, and she's ready. So she's ready. We're ready. Now it's just kind of a wait and see what happens once the new year turns over.
Right. Very good. Well, best of luck in the season. Hopefully you have a great season, and it's hopefully there's enough cars to make it a good season.
Yeah, hopefully there's a good season, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, everyone. Wishing everyone a happy and a healthy new year. And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Thanks, Dina. We'll be in touch, and we'll get you back. We'll do this again soon. Say hi to Andrew.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
I will.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was Dina Parise from Dina Parise Ventures, and longtime friend of this show. I can imagine, Paul. You have a lot of money invested in a race car and a race team, and it's not a. We're not talking like racing down connecting highway here. We're talking a real deal, and then to see it just sit, it's got to just be a heartbreaker. But this, that's why we're getting out of this year and.
Yeah, I'm hoping this coming year is going to be better with things. Just in general, I mean, look at all the car shows. Same thing. I mean, it's 1 minute they were there, the next minute it's like, oh, we're canceled. And
then somewhere around late summer, the impromptu ones started up. The guys who said, you know what, now they'll meet behind the shopping center instead of out on the main road. I started seeing a lot.
Oh yeah.
I didn't go to any of them though, but I saw them. But well, I'll tell you what, we're at the bottom of the hour. We need to take our reestablishing break so we can take care of some spots and do some things, and then we'll be back, and we'll talk about we'll talk about maybe Christmas presents or what our guys wanted and didn't get. I don't know what we did get and whatever that. So, for Pirate Paul, Ray Guarbino here on Motormouth Radio, we're going to take our break, and we will be back in a few minutes on 90.3 WHPC. This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Lynbrook and Oceanside, who remind you that New York State law says you always have the right to choose which shop you want to have your car fixed at. CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision offers a full range of services: 24-hour towing between Montauk and Manhattan, shuttle service, and they can help you with a rental car arrangement if needed. And yes, se habla español. More information is available by calling 516-593-0920 or visiting online at celebritychasecollision.com.
It's a call-studded program. We do have another caller on the line. Caller, identify yourself.
Anthony, I called those guys with the cars one time.
Oh, nice. The Motormouth guys.
Oh, yeah, those good old boys.
There you are. Anthony, where are you calling from?
I'm in Freeport. Yeah, this morning I miss it. My boss was, every time I turn it on, he turns it off. I say, whoa. Yo, you better, I give him a karate chop.
That's right.
Give him a karate chop. Give him
F5.
I love it.
Later, dudes.
It's a pleasure, bro. Take it easy. That
was amazing.
My favorite caller
of all time.
Maybe all time. I have heard him with the Motormouth guys. That's why I recognized him a little.
Shake off the realities of the day, broaden your musical horizons, and embrace the diversity every Monday afternoon at 5 for 2 hours of revelations. The show offers a potently unique collection of music with an emphasis on themes and rock rarities, an occasional tour de force of blues and soul, mixed with compelling sets of folk and folk rock. I'm Steve K, and I've got the perfect soundtrack for your drive home every Monday afternoon at 5. 5 on Revelations, right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
All right, we thank you for staying tuned with us on Motormouth Radio. Your host, Ray Guarino, with Pirate Paul this week because Chris Switzer is out taking care of taking care of some family stuff. 'Tis the season and all. So it's good to know you can rely on your friends to come in and help you out. And Paul never lets me down. So
I try not to.
Yeah.
But what we were talking about before we got back on the air here, your carburetor. I know you mentioned this, your snowblower carburetor or whatever you were talking about last week.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, I happened to be looking at a YouTube video, and I actually saw some guy use the correct tool to remove that little rubber seat you were talking about.
Oh, I would have liked to have seen what that thing is.
It's literally looked like a crochet needle.
Okay.
And the guy actually had a crochet needle there, had it side by side. The only difference is on the other side was a little machine piece with a pilot to insert the new seal.
Okay, yeah.
But that's a great idea. The crochet needle, hook that thing and pull it right out.
Sure.
It's that or a little air pressure and blow it across the room.
And then, to my surprise, when I looked into that bore to try to take out, mine was gone. I didn't even have one.
Yeah,
so that was probably another source of the fuel leak. Because
I've seen that quite a bit.
Yeah, the needle valve. On like I said last week, on automotive carburetors, the needle in the seat, the needle typically has a Viton tip, which is fuel impervious,
right.
And it's a taper. I don't know what that angle is. I'm going to guess maybe like 30 degrees.
I was going to say it's probably around there because it's certainly not 45.
No, definitely. Maybe like 30 degrees. And the seat is actually a brass piece that you thread into the carburetor.
Yeah, when you have the Viton ones, yeah. But when you have those metal ones, some of the old carburetors had a metal seat and a metal valve. I mean, there's the tool.
Right.
That's cool. Yeah. Is that the Internet Know-It-All?
Yes.
Yes. But I tell you, I bought another toy I bought. I bought a small ultrasonic cleaner, one of the heated ultrasonic cleaners.
Oh, heated? Yeah,
those new ones now. You can get them on eBay and stuff, and they're relatively cheap.
How small is small?
What do they call this one? I think it was like 3-4 liters, maybe 5 liters.
Well, an inch is like give me.
It's about. I'd say it's about 14 inches long.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, about 8 inches or so wide.
I've seen those. Yeah, it's the rectangular style.
Yeah, rectangle, about 6 deep, but it has a heater on it.
Okay.
It's a built-in heater and everything. It takes a little while. It's not the most powerful heater, but it gets hot. And then, of course, the vibration actually heats it up as well.
Right.
But, for these small carburetors, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, I've cleaned quite a few small carbs in there, and it does work. It works pretty well. You put some carburetor cleaner in there. I have seen it done a couple of ways, actually. I've seen it where they put carburetor cleaner in the unit itself,
right,
and dip the parts. But I also saw where guys just filled it with water, and then they took the parts they needed, put it in either like a glass jar or a Ziploc bag, filled that with the cleaner, and then laid it in the water.
That's what I was going to talk about, and I'm glad you brought it up. And there was a guy that I watch on YouTube. He does a lot of small engine videos and life hacks and stuff like that. And he showed that, and I said, why is he doing that? And then he answered my question. He says, well, if you're like me, and you use the cleaner for many things, and you may be doing a carburetor now, but then your wife's jewelry tonight, it's like you don't want that cross-contamination. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. I thought of that. And that's what he showed. He did a test and showed that the ultrasonic will go through glass. It will go through plastic. And so I've yet to try that, but I'm going to. Yeah, no, it works. It works. And I did it with the bag. I did it with the Ziploc bag. I put some of the cleaner in there and gave it a shot. Right. But the other thing you want to be careful, if you're doing jewelry, don't do anything with stones. Okay. Because you could literally shatter a stone. Wow, I didn't know that. They say you can fracture it. You can fracture a stone. I don't know how true or whatever, but I don't think you want to play around with your wife's diamond. Oh, no. Sorry, honey. Speaking of projects, that's another one that I know. I talked to you about this a while ago. I don't know if you remember. I saw on the web a guy we were talking about cleaning records, vinyl LPs, and this one place. They have the sit and spin one that you do, which is kind of. But I saw a guy who had a big ultrasonic cleaner. Yes, I've seen big 90-degree arm, and now I got what I thought was the hard part of the equation. I got a big ultrasonic cleaner. Right. My buddy Joe at the music store, at the record store, had given it to me over at Infinity. And now I need to make like that crossbar and all that I can power with a motor,
Right.
so I can spin the record. So that was the next phase of it. But we'll see if that project ever comes to fruition. But
Yeah, it's easy enough. Get yourself a little synchronous motor, one of those little motors they use like to spin a mirrored ball or something, the ones that spin slowly.
that's not the hard part. Yeah, then the next part is going to be the shaft with the spindle. It's going to be some lathe work. So, of course,
Right.
I don't have that option at my house. You do. Hound the John does, too. He's got a nice little lathe.
I do.
You guys do. So that's why I'll be tapping you. We'll see if we can put that thing together. But, yeah. So, again, that's the kind of stuff that we do. We just,
Right.
we
That
see
shouldn't be
something,
too
we
bad.
think, how else can I use this?
Yeah. But I was actually, what I was looking at? I'm toying with the idea now. I was looking at a set of the shrinker stretchers to buy.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now everybody and their brother is selling them now. There's Harbor Freight has them. They're $150, and it's a nice tool to have. It's one of those tools where you're working on something and all of a sudden I need it. You won't need it again for 5 years, but all of a sudden I need it, and I know that's coming up with me.
That's like on my bucket list of stuff like that is I want a set of dimple dies.
Right.
And you can buy the single die for like, $40, which is okay. But then I think, well, but there's a set of 6 or 8. So now it gives me a range of holes that I could make. I'd rather have the set, of course, but like, gee, when am I going to use like, a 2-inch dimple die? But you never know.
Right. You never know.
My biggest problem is I put it away and then I wouldn't be able to find it when I need it.
Well, yeah. Join the club. I actually used something that I bought, and I found the receipt on this. I think I bought it back in 2005, and I used it once, and now I just pulled it out and used it again. I bought the, and actually it was Harbor Freight, the bead roller.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Harbor Freight's bead roller?
Sure.
So I pulled that. I was doing a belly pan for the snowblower. The snowblower I have, I think I shot you a picture of that.
Mm-hmm.
The snowblower I have, I got it. It was apart. And the pan was missing. And it didn't really affect me, but every once in a while you hit that snowbank and the drive gets wet and the snowblower doesn't move.
Yep.
So I finally decided, okay, I'm going to make a belly pan. So I, bent everything up and I broke out the bead roller. Make those nice little beads in there to stiffen the metal.
It stiffens the metal, is right. Yeah.
It worked great, but it's so funny. I dragged this thing. It was so far back on the shelf because it hasn't been out in so long.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, I saw the receipt in the box and I was like, 05.
Yeah, I know. Where'd the time go?
Yeah. But what kills me is a friend of mine. He picked up a bead roller at a swap meet, and it was a what's that name? The one you see a lot of their tools on a lot of the TV shows.
Bally, BALE.
No, not Bally. The other one.
There's something master.
No, the name just went out of my. It was a good quality one. The name just went out of my head. Okay. Anyway, he picked it up at a swap meet for $50 with the dies.
Nice.
So I was like, wow, that's nice. It's much nicer than mine. So the other day I'm like, hey, I interested your bead roller. Oh, I sold it. I'm like, I said, you got that thing for $50.
Yeah. What did he sell it for? Then?
Woodward Fab.
Okay. Did he tell you how much he got?
I don't know what he sold it for.
Because he could make a nice little tidy profit on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, a Woodward Fab one, I would have given them $50 right here.
Oh, well, of course you would have. Yeah.
And I would have given him mine. Sell that one. But it's a much nicer piece.
Yeah. That's nice.
It's a shame, but mine worked. It was thin metal, and bent it all up, painted it all pretty, and put it on the blower. Off to the next project.
The only thing I wanted to mention, just to back up a little, is you don't have this problem with a bead roller, but when I use the ultrasonic cleaner that I have, I use it out in the garage now because it drives my cat crazy.
Yeah.
And mine has a distinctive bzz, like a buzz. Now, when I was in that Levittown mower, I was waiting for the guy, and then his mechanic brought a carburetor, threw it in their ultrasonic cleaner. They had a nice big one, and turned it on, and it didn't make nearly the noise that mine makes. So I don't know if a smaller cleaner makes I don't know if it's indicative to the size of the cleaner, but you may want to watch out. Your animals may be hiding if you.
Yeah, no, mine's in the garage. So, but yes, even in the garage, it's annoying.
Yeah.
But, I have to say hello to Lauren. She's listening to us.
Oh, hey, Lauren.
She's out there somewhere listening.
All right.
But interesting thing, yesterday, I'm out in the garage and I was, cutting the first couple of pieces for this, for the headboard bracket. So I was using the plasma cutter. So my last piece, I cut it, And all of a sudden, my garage door opener, I have, because of the type of garage door I have this big microprocessor box sitting on the wall for the garage. All of a sudden, that box starts going crazy.
Really?
It starts beeping and lights blinking. And all kinds.
Wow.
I'm like, really? I've used it before. I guess something just right, and things beeping away and everything, and it's lights. I was like, what the heck? And I couldn't tell initially where the beep was coming from. It's very high pitch. It was echoing off everything. And then I get over there, I saw the lights blinking on the control box. So I had to unplug the thing and reset it. But I was like, odd.
Try something.
I haven't even opened up the door yet to try it. I think I better.
Believe me, this is what I was thinking when I heard the noise that the ultrasonic makes. The first thing I thought of was those old. We used to have them where I work. We had the old dot matrix printers, and when you had a bunch of them in a room, they had enclosures that were soundproof that you could close the lid and make the printers quiet. I'm like, stick the freaking ultrasonic in one of those, you'll muffle it. So
because they are really annoying. They make a nasty sound. I tested it when I first picked it up. I had it down here, and Rose was upstairs. She's like, "What the heck is that noise?"
Yeah, I know.
But they work. They do the job.
Yes,
they do the job. I'm always looking for little goodies like that.
Oh, sure.
To add to the garage, But
yeah.
I mean, other than that, and like I said,
one of the things I'm looking for is, every once in a while, you take a device apart, whether it be a flashlight or remote control, something you haven't used in a while, and the batteries it's sulfated.
Right.
So you clean out that flaky battery sulfation, and you got to be careful with that stuff because it is it's hazardous, it's dangerous. You don't want to breathe it or lick it. So I want to come up with some. I just did this last week. I opened up an old remote and I said, I got to come up with some way, some combination of a dip or something, some mechanical, just some way to clean that stuff out better than just doing it on the bench. And I don't know. So that's something that's.
Have you tried the ultrasonic cleaner for that?
I haven't, because like a remote, you don't want to dunk a remote control in the ultrasonic.
True.
Part of a flashlight, you could.
Well, that's what I mean, like that, or some things have battery holders you can take out.
Right, that you could. And then I would use, just so, my first thought would be I would just make a mixture of water and baking soda.
And baking soda, yeah.
Because that's what I use on the car batteries all the time to neutralize it and clean it.
Right. But I figure that stuff's kind of flaky, which, it's usually kind of hard. So I'm wondering if it would actually break off.
Well, a lot of it flakes off. The next step is what it does to, over time, to like a brass finger or component. I was just working on. I was trying to get one of my mother's old watches going for my daughter.
Right.
And I saw there was the battery sulfated, and there was some. I'm in there with a little end of a screwdriver cleaning.
Oh yeah. I was just working on something too, actually. I have a piece of test equipment here, and there were batteries. And I try to take this, when I know I'm not going to use the thing for a while, I try to take the batteries out.
Absolutely.
And you don't always remember on everything.
I know.
Yeah. So I have one here.
That happens every Christmas when there's ornaments that make noise, and my wife will get me like, how come this doesn't work? Did you leave the batteries in it? I don't know. That's your job. When did it become my job?
Yeah, I know. I know. I the same thing. I go around some of these decorations before she puts them away. I'm like, did you take the batteries out? Because I don't want to hear next year, it doesn't work. Fix it.
That's right. But you do miss one once in a while.
Oh yeah, always. Everything's batteries nowadays. It's I should have stock in battery companies.
Yeah, right. I know.
Everything's batteries. But actually, it's funny because I have one of those weather stations. With the remote head up on the roof.
Right.
Well, the batteries died.
Oh, wow.
So I'm seriously considering making a remote battery box to run down the side, because you got to go climb up on a roof every time.
Oh, the batteries are up there.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It uses rechargeable alkalines.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, they use alkalines because alkalines don't diminish the way nickel metal hydrides do in the cold weather.
Okay.
So, but the problem is, and then it has a solar panel on it. So during the day, it will, juice the batteries up and stuff. But when those batteries go, you got to climb up there and pull the thing down.
Oh boy.
Right. So I'm going to consider making some kind of a remote battery box, the little cable coming down, at least to the second floor window.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, because I'm getting too old to climb up on a roof all the time to change batteries.
We're getting to be in that age group, Paul, where they say, like I was out doing that crappy snow we had, and me and my neighbor were across the street yelling like, hey, I said, we're in the group that the doctors warn us about not doing this,
Right, you're right. We're the ones they find laying in the driveway.
Yeah, exactly. Touching our chests.
I actually was wrestling with my snowblower in this one here, this past snow.
Yeah.
The stupid belt kept slipping.
Oh, you said that, right.
Right. I changed everything. And like I said, I found an adjustment on there that I didn't know existed.
That's great.
So I was able to fix it, but that was, after, of course, I spent, a couple of hours fighting with the snow, but live and learn with these things.
Yeah. Well, now you're good for next year. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Those are little tips and tricks that, it's just nice when they come about because I got to tell you something. I apparently need to learn how to drive again. Something I talked about with Chris many times. My wife got me a couple of pair of new shoes because I don't buy myself new shoes. I just,
right.
It's one of those things I don't like doing. So I'm wearing shoes like with holes in them. And
me too.
My toe got wet. And so she put me a few pair of shoes and I wore one the other day. And of course, in the car I'm driving is a stick shift. All I have to do is change my shoes and everything feels different to me. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. So it's like I'm a new driver again. I'm like, damn, I'm hitting the brake and the clutch at the same time. I'm hitting the brake and the gas at the same time. Like,
What'd you buy, your Herman Munster shoes?
No, believe me. No, I do have a pair of, I think they're Doc Martens, they're shoes though. And I was only able to wear them when I drive my Impala or when I have my Caprice wagon because they were automatics with a nice big GM brake pedal and gas pedal. And there was room. I can't drive the smaller cars with those shoes.
That's funny. Try to drive the dune buggy with those.
Oh, like my Fiat. Yeah, same thing. I hit all three pedals at once.
Yeah. Speaking about that, I have to pull I got to pull the speedometer out of the dune buggy.
Why is that?
The LCD display. If it's anything lower than about 80 degrees out, the display is just mush. You can't see. Yeah, you can't see the numbers. I already contacted the company, They said send it back.
Okay,
just send it back. They got to change the display. The only problem is to get the speedometer, I got to pull the seat out. So so I can lay down in there.
Yeah, right. To get under.
I can't get under that dash.
Yeah,
I'm not as flexible as I used to.
No, I know. Yeah, it's nice if there's I'm thinking like my Fiat. I have 4 thumb screws on the wood dash. You take them off and pull the whole dash panel off. Yeah, you get the back of all your gauges. So that's.
I wish. No, my dash is molded into the hood. Yeah. So I got to lay. I mean, getting the unit out itself isn't so bad. I mean, everything is on plugs.
Right.
So everything will just unplug. But there's a couple other things I want to do. So it gives me an excuse to to get that work done as well.
You should do that in enough time so you're ready to go for the season. You don't want to do that.
That's the plan. That's the plan. Get under there. I mean, I'm kind of, like I said, the other project, I'm kind of dead in the water right now because I got to order some parts.
Okay.
So, I'm going to order some parts for that. Plus, with the cold weather, I want to do a little bit of painting.
Now I'm thinking, I remember back to when you were doing a lot of work in the garage. It was in the winter when you were working on.
It was, but remember, I also had an actual heater in the garage. I had that unit heater up on a ceiling. Right now, I got twice the amount of space, and I'm working with a portable heater.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. There's also another component to it. It's your drive and determination. We will...
Yeah, I'm also a lot older.
Well, we are right, but we will work in adverse conditions and get things done if it's in our best interest to do it, and you really want to do it. Like if that, and sometimes it's like if you got to do just some maintenance and repair, it's like, no, it ain't worth going out there in the cold.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is with me? It's getting started.
Yeah.
It seems like when I go out to the garage and it's dark and it's cold, it's like, I don't know. It's weird. It's like there's no life out there. Once the place gets warm, the lights are on, the radio's on, the place is alive. And it's much easier to get going.
Oh, sure. But like in the summer, you walk in, it's like we're good to go any time of day and night. You're ready to go.
Right. But it's getting that past that initial hump to say, okay, it's 25 degrees outside, but I'll get the garage up to 50, 55 degrees. The lights will be on, the radio will be on. It won't be so bad.
I remember back,
but I got to get to that point.
When I rebuilt my Super Glide. Again, I was much younger. I was in my 30s, and it was a winter. We must have been like in the teens. And I'm out there at night, and I had it was 150,000 BTU turbo heater, and the thing was so noisy. They used it in the airport. That's where it came from. It was so noisy and put out so much heat. It'd be good for your garage, but if I put it in my garage, everything would melt. So just for the noise, I would put 90% of it outside on the driveway and close the door on it.
Sure.
So the door had to be open a good 2.5 feet, but it didn't matter. The thing put out so much heat, you couldn't hear the radio. You couldn't even hear the radio.
Right.
You would drown out in pec tools. I remember I was going in and out of my side door at the time, and it kind of hit me after a while. Like I noticed, like I'm getting ice water on my neck. Like, and I thought of it, like nothing's melting out there because it's like 17 degrees. And then I realized, because I have an uninsulated roof, that heater was heating the roof so much it was melting the ice.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
That's funny.
But yeah, those things they're brutal. They smell. Yeah.
I'll tell you though, that was the one thing when I was working in the garage. My friend Vic brought over his kerosene heater, which was great, and it really warmed the garage up well. But I have to say, by the end of the night, I went in, I felt terrible.
Yeah,
and I guess it was just breathing all those fumes. I felt horrible.
Right.
I mean, the propane one, it's not so bad. It's also not quite as big as his, but it's just doesn't seem quite as bad with the propane as it was with the kerosene. But I'll tell you, actually, that's something else I wanted to bring up real quick. Buying propane, I was amazed at the prices for purchasing propane. Now, I get my tanks. Like a lot of people go and get their tanks. They'll do the tank exchange.
Yeah.
Right now, when you do a tank exchange, they're only giving you 15 pounds of gas.
Unless you go to the place I go, who gives you a full 20.
Well, you have to go there and get your tank filled.
Yeah.
But the exchanges, So I was pricing it. So I don't know. What do you pay for a refill on yours?
It's $22, and then they give me. I have a coupon that I could use. Currently, it takes $2 off, so it becomes 20.
Okay, because the place by me here was $27.97.
Well, you're in a high class town over there.
Yeah, right. That comes out to $5.59 a gallon.
Yeah.
If you figure it's 4.5 gallons of propane in a 20-pound cylinder, right?
Right.
If you go to a place like Home Depot or whatever and do the exchange at their price, you're paying $6.50 a gallon.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
Okay. My friend who lives in PA, he gets refills. $10 a bottle.
Oh, geez.
$10. So actually, I was doing a little.
Got to make a run.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, Tractor Supply, $3.09 a gallon, which is great. Which was a Tractor Supply.
All right.
U-Haul's next cheapest.
Paul, we're going to have to wrap that because we are now at the end of our show.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for coming in and doing a show with me today. It was a great help.
I appreciate you asking.
Thank Dina Parise for coming on. Of course, we'll have you back on again. We'll bring you back in. And we'll be back next week. Chris Switzer should be back. If not, you'll be seeing Paul again because we'll drag him back. If
Chris, come back.
Yeah. So, all right. Please, anything.
Please.
So with that, Ray Guarino for Paul, Pirate Paul signing off. More Motor Mouth Radio next week. And we will see you then. 90.3 FM. See ya.